Well, obviously, it wasn't at all about the different looks on Bruce Lee's face. Hello, everyone. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel. Welcome to the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast number 232. This is the one about Jeet Kune Do, one art, different expressions. As you're logging in, if you'd be kind enough to say where you're logging in from, hit the like button and feel free to continue doing so throughout the broadcast. If you're catching the simulcast over on the YouTube, please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell over there. If you enjoy my work and you'd like to support the program, please visit jkdrebel.com, click on the Rebel Gear link, and that's where you'll see stuff like this, the JKD Notables coffee mug, also available as a hideous hoodie, according to Paul Bax, t-shirt, long sleeve, short sleeve, sweatshirt, all that good stuff. But of course, the best thing you can do is to share this video and spread the word about the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcasts. So in case you never saw it, the source for today's topic is actually something from my Jeet Kune Do senior, Chris Kent. It's a video where he's talking about the Jeet Kune Do matrix, or a Jeet Kune Do matrix, I should probably say. And he's telling the story of Sifu Inosanto writing up on the whiteboard the names of different JKD guys, along with what I call the 5 skills of what I call the 4 skills of empty-handed combat, right? So in other words, I don't know if you can make it out there. So at the top, and I don't know if you can see my cursor, but at the top it's like kicking, punching, trapping, grappling, and then on the side, and I wish I was good enough at algebra or whatever it is to know what's the x-axis and what's the y-axis, but I failed all that stuff. So kicking, punching, trapping, grappling at the top. And then, you know, the names of guys, right? So whoever names you want to put there. And then what Inosanto would do is to check off and say, okay, well, this guy is like into the kicking this percentage amount. This guy is into and that guy is into the punching this percentage and whatever. And it was just to illustrate that because of their particular physical qualities, right? So a guy who wasn't especially flexible, he might not use a whole lot of the kicking technique in his expression, in his personal expression of Jeet Kune Do. So a point that Chris was making in his video is how ridiculous it is to then start saying, oh, well, this guy isn't Jeet Kune Do and that guy isn't Jeet Kune Do, right? When all it is, the reality is that because of physicality, there will be different percentages among different people, and because of individuality as well, right? So that's what Chris was doing. Because I've noticed a trend now. There are people trying to I'll use a term that the cool kids use, right? There are people clout chasing now and trying to use Chris Kent's posts to add legitimacy or relevancy to some of the nonsense that they're saying, right? And so that's not something that that I'm gonna let happen, right? Chris Kent is uniquely qualified to talk about Jeet Kune Do, and if you watch carefully, you'll notice that he has only good things to say about his teacher, right? So don't try it. Anyhow, enough of that. So any reasonably intelligent person would understand what Chris was talking about in that video, and I'll give you a link to it if you haven't seen it. I'll give you a link to it before I close up in a few minutes, right? But today, what I want to talk about, what I want to touch on, is 2 other matrices, or 2 other ways to use this matrix approach. So in the first example, you keep the 4 skills at the top: kicking, punching, trapping, grappling. But along the side, you list any art in which you might be interested. So let's say you wanted to look at Western boxing. So if you look at Western boxing, and then you look at kicking, can't check that. Punching, you can check that. Trapping, can't really check that. Grappling, can't really check that box. So Western boxing on that row would end up with 1 check mark. if you look at Boxe Française would check kicking and it would check punching. So in that row, it'd be 2 out of 4. If you looked at Muay Thai would again check for strong kicking, strong punching, not so strong in trapping and grappling, right? Even though in modern day Muay Thai, there is a lot now of grappling stuff in terms of sweeping people and taking down and what have you. If you looked at Wing Chun, you would check, again, kicking, you would check trapping, you would check punching. If you looked at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you'd probably end up checking only grappling, right? If you look at Filipino Kali, you'd end up checking all 4 boxes because of the nature of those arts. So now what you've done is you've taken a look at the art and what the art is capable of doing for you. So you've taken the person aspect out of the equation. And what you end up with is then a way to direct yourself in what you're interested in studying. Okay? Now, if we were to put the people aspect back in, we would realize, like I alluded to earlier, no 2 people would necessarily or even automatically end up liking or preferring or using the exact same percentages of these arts, right? Even after this identification. So even if 2 people decide, okay, let's look at the matrix in terms of identifying the skills that training in this art could contribute. Those 2 people, even if they're twin brothers, twin brother and sister, twin sisters, best friends, college roommates, or whatever, there's no guarantee that because they're using the matrix the same way that they will end up with the same percentages. Again, because people are different and because the idea of the individual in Jeet Kune Do is probably not emphasized enough. I said I was gonna give you 2 matrices, but I think I'll just leave it at that one and approach the other one maybe next week. I'll touch on the other approach to using that matrix. Let me think about it some more, right? So this is a deeper level analysis than those who will spout at you that you just need Jeet Kune Do, right? An exercise like this might give you an understanding of what Bruce Lee himself may have done in terms of determining for himself what made sense to him, what an art could deliver, right? So that's why you hear Bruce Lee himself say something like, yeah, maybe it's a little bit like Muay Thai, right? Now, this is the thing, see, Bruce Lee writes, yeah, it's a little bit like Muay Thai. A surface level thinker is going to jump on that and say, no, Bruce Lee is not saying that Jeet Kune Do, that Muay Thai is part of Jeet Kune Do. Well, what moron would think that that's what he means? You see, people who have the ability to analyze deeply what it is that Bruce Lee has left us with, they'll recognize immediately. If Bruce Lee says something or writes something like, yeah, it's a little bit like Muay Thai, of course he's talking about physicality. He's talking about kicking and punching and kneeing and elbowing, because those are things that you will find in Thai boxing, and those are things that you will find in Jeet Kune Do. Nobody with a modicum of intelligence would try to interpret and try to sell that Bruce Lee said once that Jeet Kune Do and Muay Thai were the same. Nobody. Only somebody who's trying to prove some point that doesn't even have to be made or proven would come up with that idea. And it's becoming a deep source of irritation, or a source of deep irritation for me, because when I say that some people do not engage in that some people engage in too much surface level thinking, if you are offended by that, well, I can't do much for you. Now, if you want to debate me about it, I'm more than welcome the opportunity to sit down and talk to you, and you can disprove my claim that somebody is engaging in surface level thinking only. Anytime that you want to, I'll sit down with you and I'll debate that, right? Okay, so the thing about different expressions is that they're different people. So people are going to move differently. People are going to have different approaches to things. It's still all Jeet Kune Do as long as it sticks to the guiding principles. And again, if you understand, right, unless you are filled up in some way with some kind of animus towards a particular group of Jeet Kune Do people or a particular Jeet Kune Do individual, unless you are filled with some kind of animus towards somebody, your thinking is clouded. It's so seriously clouded that you don't have room to understand that it is one art, but it can be expressed differently. In fact, in probably in, it might be in the Jeet Kune Do kickboxing book, or I should have looked it up because I just thought of it. In the Jeet Kune Do kickboxing book, or maybe the Jeet Kune Do textbook, right? Chris and Tim Tackett talk about that at various points, Jeet Kune Do might look like boxing, or it might look like kickboxing or what have you. That doesn't mean that it's not Jeet Kune Do, right? Okay, so the link for Chris's, I think I thought I had it here. Did the link come up when I put, if I put this in the stream, right? You guys tell me if the link, does a link come up for that? I don't know if it does. It should, but maybe it doesn't. Okay, so I'll put the YouTube link in the comments for you then, right? Okay, so yeah, that's it. So tell me what you think about this whole idea of the different expressions of Jeet Kune Do, right? Yeah, that's it. That's all we'll talk about today, right? So remember that at paypal.me/UnifiedMA Miami, you can get your hands on the raw but edited version of the Jeet Kune Do Journey, Volume 1, first JKD autobiography. I like to say. I have no idea if that's true, right? Okay, so that's it for today. Coming up, I did try to put this in here. Do I have it? Do I have it? Do I have it? No, apparently I don't have it. Oh, Dwight, you suck. I thought for sure. Okay, let me try to. I am so well prepared. It's not even funny. Let me try to do this in 5 seconds if I can. Okay, this is one version of it that might work, right? Coming up on Friday at 6 p.m. JKD Dialogues with. Okay, let's see if this works. Yeah. With Z. All right. Okay. Jeet Kune Do Dialogues, episode number 227 with Kurt Cornwell of MKG Detroit. I gotta give him a hard time about his name, right? Okay, so that's Friday at 6 p.m. So join us then if you can. If not, see you next week for another issue of the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast. Until then, this is Dwight Woods. Oh wait, I did have something else for you. Did I save this one? Hold on again. Let me see. Did I save this one? Because I didn't see it just now, but I tried to make a. Oh, wrong place, Dwight. Hang on. This is so embarrassing. I'm so professional today. Hang on a second. There we go. Okay, let's see if I can get this. Yeah, all right. So check this. Right, I made this little graphic in Microsoft Word for you. Right, so that's the thing. That's the thing I was talking about: kicking, punching, trapping, grappling, and then drop the arts that you're interested in investigating. Right, and before you do that, whenever you think in terms of, okay, which of these arts checks a lot of the boxes in the 4 skills of empty-handed combat. That's what I want to share with you. All right, so that's it. I'm out. You guys take care. Enjoy the rest of your evening. This is Dwight Woods, the JKD Rebel, signing off.